Hi guys, this is Tina from Shabbydabbydoodah. Welcome back to my channel. So we are here for another one of our mass making sessions. We are here at week number 124. So if you watch my channel, you'll know that we are doing reruns. So it's week number 24, but we are rerunning it now. So we're actually week 124. And yeah, what we're going to actually make today is little kind of three, I can't remember now what I actually called them, to be honest, so I'll have to double check, but little kind of three-fold, three-page staggered pocket books. They sound much more complicated than they are. So if you are wanting to join along, you will need a variety of papers. Now, for these, I often just use actually plain coffee dyed paper. You could, of course, use plain, you know, food colour paper or, you know, anything you like, really. The reason, obviously, for using plain is because it gives you lots of journaling space. You could use patterned paper, but what I would kind of say is I would recommend trying to use something that's perhaps patterned on one side and plain on the other. So sorry about that. As I was talking, I suddenly realised that I had forgotten to bring any completely plain paper along. So I had spent so long digging out suitable, you know, patterned papers that I totally forgot to bring some coloured. So I've got some coloured paper. So yes, if you are wanting to join along, you're going to need a variety of papers. Now, I use A4 paper, which, you know, in this instance, the A4 paper is... well, not in this instance, in all instances, A4 paper is, I think it's 8.25 by 11.69 inches. So it's very similar to the US letter size that you have over in the US. Now, I have brought along a variety of thicknesses. Most of these are regular copyweight paper, but a few are thicker. Now, it's got to be said, the thinner paper, I feel slightly nervous that that's not going to be brilliant on these because we're going to make pockets, and for me, I just feel that, you know, I'm a little bit too clumsy to actually make pockets from very thin paper. When I've made these in the past, I think it was like 120 GSM paper, which was, you know, yeah, thicker than paper, nowhere near as thick as card, and that was perfect, but I don't seem to have any at the moment. So, you know, use what you've got. If you're using the copy paper thickness, just bear in mind it's going to be quite thin. So you're going to be, you know, need to be quite gentle when you're using the pockets. If you've got thicker paper, so, I mean, I've got some here that's 250, which I think is this one, which is much thicker. It may be that that's going to be too stiff. So just play around and find what works best. You could have, of course, used scrapbook paper. Again, I would start by cutting that down to kind of a rough A4 size, only approximately. You don't have to worry too much. You know, it doesn't have to be exactly this size. Only because then it's going to make it easier to make it. And again, I would use a scrapbook paper that is not too busy on like both sides. So it could be super busy on one side, but either plain on the back that you could perhaps coffee dye, or just a very subtle pattern that you could then use as your journaling space. So that's kind of a little bit of a note about the papers. You're going to need some glue. You're going to need some scissors or a bone folder. Either would be fine. You may want to round some corners or anything like that. So you might want to have a corner rounder. And then you might want to have either a stapler or your sewing machine. So either can be used for these. Yeah, I think I will probably kind of... yeah, glue and staple for the purposes of the video, so it's kind of accessible to everybody. So let's get cracking and kind of look at how we make one of these, and I'll do a couple through and then we'll kind of just relax and hopefully have a nice time and enjoy ourselves. So I have got, first of all, starting with this paper. Now these are going to be sideways on, so again you might want to pick your papers carefully, you know, so you've got something that's not going to be too weird if it's sideways on, or you're going to have to cut your papers around a little bit more, you know, which, to be fair, this may be useful for when using kind of scraps and things like that. So let's start actually by making a completely plain one, and then we can have a look at kind of variations in a minute. So yeah, let's kind of do it in a logical way. So all you're going to do is take your paper and your folding it down on the long side. Then you're going to cut it into 3 sections. Now, again, I don't measure, so we're just going to kind of eyeball 3 approximate sections like that. Okay, and then all you want to do is have your sections layered up like a little foldy booklet, like that. And that's all you're basically doing. And then what we're going to do is we're going to glue around on one side to make our pockets, and we're going to staple in on, you know, the center for our signature. So for instance, if I take this piece here, and all I want to do is glue that down. So just taking my glue, and I'm putting it kind of, you know, roughly where I want it. So I'm thinking here, so we've got this top section as the, you know, the pocket piece. And then I'm just running some glue down like that. Okay, and whoops, I would just glue my pocket into place like that. Okay, so that's my first pocket. So this is where I'm saying that obviously if you're using copy paper like I am using here, you know, your pocket here is going to be, you know, delicate to say the least. So, you know, just kind of bear that in mind. You know, you might have some scrapbook paper or something that actually is just perfect thickness for this. But I mean, if you haven't, that's, you know, that's fine. Copy paper can work fine. It's just kind of, you know, be aware that it's going to be a little bit delicate. So then what you're going to do is take your third piece and you're going to layer that up, and we're going to do exactly the same to get our next pocket on like that. And we just glue that down like that. Okay, just check that they're kind of straightish. Now I'm using just wet glue for this, but you know, use whatever glue that you've got. I probably wouldn't use hot glue for this because hot glue can be a little bit lumpy, and also you may want to have a little bit of time to kind of like adjust your pockets slightly. If you use hot glue, obviously it's going to dry instantly and you're not really going to have that kind of, you know, wiggle room time, if you see what I mean. So that's my pocket, you know, book now. And then if you've got this going on, because obviously your pockets are kind of like tucked into one another, then you can trim them down on the edge. But all I'm going to do before I do that is staple my booklet. Now, you may want to do like 3 staples. Oops, I've just noticed. Just go in at the back just to make sure that's nicely glued down. Now you might want to have 3 staples because of course you've got kind of 3 pages. So you want to make sure that this is nice and secure. So I'm just going in with my stapler. We've got 1 and then 2. And then the 3rd staple we will have here. So that hopefully, oh, I was thinking hopefully we've clamped them all together. That one actually, as it happens, I just stapled it in the middle of nowhere for some reason. Oh well, never mind. Right, so I'm just going to cut my booklet down on the side like that, so that hopefully all my pockets are level now. I'm just going to trim this up because I just noticed that it does not look very straight. That was just my shoddy cutting when I cut the paper into thirds. But that's it, that's my little booklet. So what you've got is your 2 pockets here, and then you've got journaling space all through here, and your pages are here like that. So really, really nice, aren't they? So let's do another one exactly like that. Then we'll do one using some irregular kind of papers, and then we'll do some, you know, kind of yeah, in like slow time, just, you know, relaxing and catching up, and, you know, I won't be talking you through. So again, taking my paper and literally folding it in straight down the long side. Now, there's no reason why you couldn't mix and match your papers here. So, you know, if you wanted to have a bit of fun with these, you could really kind of like go to town by mixing your papers up. I don't think I've ever done that before because I'm not very adventurous when it comes to mixing patterns and colours. But you know, you definitely could. And to be honest, you know, maybe that would actually be like a really fun thing to do. So this one, I mean, this is probably as adventurous as I'm going to get. I'm just having a look because I've got some food colour paper. Ooh. And I'm not sure that's really kind of brilliant on there, but I've got this more subtle green, so that's rather pretty, isn't it? So what I can do is take this now and again cut this into 3. And like I say, you know, we're really not kind of worrying too much about the size of these. They're just kind of like approximate thirds. And then you can just mix and match these like this. So your pocket booklet then has got some different kind of looks going on. So let's just take this like that. Okay, right. So again, just want to glue this down like that. Oh dear. Actually, do you know what? I've just suddenly thought, actually, I think I would be better going in this way. So, yeah. Okay, and, you know, then you can straighten your pockets out like that. So what I've got here going on is I've got a thick, you know, this is kind of 230, I think this is, GSM. And then this is kind of 100 GSM. So I've got kind of 2 thicknesses going on. Now, just wondering, what I could do is actually just have that middle section as the patterned paper. And that's quite nice to do, isn't it? So I'm just going to pop that there, like that. And again, just glue straight down for my pocket. Okay, like that. And like that. Okay. Okay, looking good. So yeah, I mean, I don't think I've ever actually done that before, to be honest, where I've kind of mixed up the papers. So, you know, I mean, oh, how adventurous am I being, mixing up the patterns and the papers. But yeah, I mean, they're quite versatile, aren't they? And so I just think you really could do some quite different looking things, you know. You don't have to kind of do them all the same. You don't have to do them even the same kind of thickness. Just play around and, you know, you can get some really, really nice different looks. So that's that one, like that. And then again, you know, you might want to just trim down on the edge. Oops, like that. Probably cut those pockets open now because I feel like I took a lot off of there. So let me just check my pockets are still stuck down. Yeah, I thought I might have done that. So just pop a little bit more glue down. Okay. And then, of course, you know, if you wanted to kind of do something a little bit more, then you could just, you know, round your corners. You know, just to give it kind of different looks and things like that. So how gorgeous is that? I'm just going to move my camera slightly. Isn't it lovely? Just absolutely lovely. Right, so let's do one now doing some irregular sort of size pages. And yeah, again, I've never actually tried this before. So I'm just hoping that this is going to pan out okay. So I've got this paper here. Now I'm going to do, and yeah, let's do the kind of left-handed one. You know, that opens on the left. So again, just kind of fold your paper down like that. Oops. And then I'm going to obviously trim it off here like that. Okay, and now I'm just going to trim that in half like that. And actually I'm wondering whether I might have enough here to do, well, hey, look at that. So what I was thinking was going to have to be, you know, all different papers. Actually, I've managed to actually do it still from the same paper by just using that little bit that we cut off. So I hadn't really expected that to work, but it definitely did. So again, just want to go in and decide which way to kind of have this. So like that. And yeah, like that. Doing this all completely the wrong way around. I think this is because I'm doing it left hand, you know, a left hand opening. For me, that's just like really thrown me. I guess because I don't normally do like the left hand opening thing. So now I'm like, oh, what, you know, what am I doing? You wouldn't have thought it would make such a drastic difference, would you? But honestly, it's thrown me completely. So yeah, let's just pop our glue down on the side and then along the bottom. And then I'll just talk you through in a second, you know, what I would do differently if I was stitching this on the sewing machine. So basically the sewing machine, you know, it's the exact same process that you're going to be doing. It's not, you know, you're not going to be doing anything very different. But what I would do is obviously just take it to the sewing machine, and I would just stitch all the way around the outside of here. So if I just kind of demonstrate here. So this would be just held in place. And what I would maybe do is just put a dab of glue here across these bottom bits. So your pockets were held at the bottom, but they're not stitched here on the sides. And then all I would do is stitch literally right the way around the four, you know, the four sides of that back rectangle. And then your pockets would be formed like that. And then I would obviously stitch straight down the signature there. So, you know, just kind of giving you options that if you wanted to stitch it, obviously, you know, you're not going to be able to stitch across here. Well, I mean, I guess you could stitch across there, but, you know, I just think it's easier if you just glue your pockets at the bottom and then just stitch around all the way around the edge. So, yeah, that's definitely how I've done it kind of in the past. So, and then you just stitch straight down the signature where we have been using the stapler. So that's my little, you know, irregular kind of pocket there. So again, just kind of glue those down there at the back. And then my whole booklet kind of folds. Oops. I don't know what's gone on here, but oh dear. I should just stick to doing these right-handed, I think, because clearly doing it left-handed has thrown me unbelievably, because look at the mess I'm making of this. Oh dear. Right, okay. So let's just take that down there. Again, just cut that down at the bottom. Okay, well, it doesn't look so bad now, although I have to say I have made really, really bad job here of this one. Yeah, let me just see if I can tidy that up here. I had not noticed that, obviously. And yeah, kind of horrified at my cutting. There we go. Right, I'm going to stick probably with the right hand opening ones from here on, because I think I mucked that one up way too much. So that's that one. And again, just to give you a couple of kind of tips really, or, you know, just ideas, I guess, for some closures. So these I think look really lovely, you know, and the simplest closure I think for these would just be some string tied right the way around these. So tie that, whoops, tie that around like that. And again, I would then just glue the string down here at the back. Well, in fact, let's do that. So I will just hot glue the string, and that's just nice and quick, and it's definitely then glued in place. Okay. And then that's holding all of those little pages closed. You know, you don't have to kind of like glue all the way down or string all the way down. That front top page, if you like, you know, like the cover, that will hold all the others closed. So, you know, it's quite kind of nifty really. And again, obviously we can then just round our corners to, you know, kind of change the look up a little bit. Whoops, change the look. Oh. Did I staple this? I don't think I've stapled this one yet. Like that. And then obviously you've got your pages here. I mean, to be honest, by the looks of things, you wouldn't even need to actually staple or stitch this. I do, because I never kind of have much faith in things kind of, you know, holding their own, if you know what I mean. You know, I would feel like, oh, that's a vulnerable point, you know, that might not actually kind of stay like a book. But I mean, to be honest, by the looks of things, it would. But yeah, I just think kind of like reinforce it with the staples, and that way, you know, you definitely know it's working. So that's my staples there, like that. Okay, so that is that one. So, and to be honest, I mean, now I'm thinking about this, you know, because I've always only ever done these from like one sheet, if you know what I mean, just folding it in half lengthways. Now I'm thinking about, you know, doing irregular sizes and shapes and all of that kind of stuff. I think, well, actually, you could probably get away with, you know, double-siding perhaps like the middle pocket, so as you've got then, you know, more interest inside and things like that. So, yeah, just play around and really experiment. I think you could get quite, yeah, quite experimental with these. Another kind of closure that you could do, you could perhaps put a magnet down, you know, kind of like holding the top page down. Sorry, was just trying to think where you'd need it. So, you know, the top page here, and again, I think that would probably hold the whole thing closed. Let me just have a look. Because the weight of that top page would kind of, you know, clasp these closed. And another thing that I did, I know, you know, when I made these previously in the mass making, we made like a wraparound closure that went all the way around, you know, like a sort of belt. So, you know, you've got lots of different options that you could do. And the other thing is, I mean, of course, you could do string this way. You know, you don't have to do it landscape. You could kind of wrap it round portrait like that, and that way you've definitely closed all of your pockets. So yeah, I mean, just play around. You could have, you know, a butterfly or something stuck you know, on the page holding this closed. You could have a paper clip on the side, you know, loads of different kind of options and things like that. So I'm going to be quiet now with regards to the process. I mean, I might mention the odd thing, but yeah, I'm going to now just kind of get on. So what I'm going to do is try and kind of mass make some of these. So we're going to kind of like fold down some papers, and then we're going to cut some papers, and, you know, kind of just, yeah, do it in a kind of methodical mass making kind of way. So we can just relax now, have a catch up. Oh, it feels like ages and ages since I've hung out with you guys like this, because all the videos that I've put up recently have been, you know, film ahead videos, which, you know, of course, that's what I do for the majority of videos, is I film them ahead, you know, just because obviously, you know, I need to kind of have them, yeah, need to have them filmed ahead, really. So, yeah, this is really nice, but I view this as, this is my only video that's kind of like, I almost feel like this is alive because I'm filming it in real time. You know, I tend to film this on the Monday. You know, I'm here now, I am filming on the Monday. And then it gets uploaded for the Tuesday. And so for me, this feels like, yeah, almost like as live as it gets, you know, on my channel, really, because, you know, we're here in real time, and yeah, just hanging out and having a proper chat and catch up with, you know, with actual stuff that's going on now. Whereas when I film ahead, obviously, I try and avoid too much talking about things that perhaps, you know, could kind of link to a certain time. Now I'm going to probably chop this yellow off. Do I want to do that? Oh no, I'm not going to do that. I try and avoid talking about things that are too current, because of course, you know, if you kind of, I don't know, mention something that was on the news or something you've seen at the cinema, and then it might be like, you know, 10 weeks or something before that video goes up, because often, you know, I've filmed ahead and then something else gets slotted in before and things like that. So, you know, then people are going to be wondering what you're talking about if you're then, you know, rambling on about some rubbish that actually is no longer current at all. So, yeah, I do kind of try and avoid talking about things that are too current when I'm filming ahead. But, you know, these mass making ones, of course, they feel like the most live one because I'm actually talking about current stuff that's going on here, in the here and now. Yeah, I probably won't use that because that bird would then be sideways on. So I'm just putting the ones that I'm not going to be using, I'm just putting to one side, but that one I probably could use, although I'm not sure. Yeah, so this is my first mass making since Christmas. So first of all, I must really apologise for that. I'm so sorry, guys. I don't know really what happened at Christmas, but the time just flew by. And then before I knew it, it was kind of like, oh, I'm not going to have time to do my mass making video now. You know, I really filmed a lot of stuff before Christmas, like series. I don't know ever whether you should say series or just series. I'd filmed a lot of different series. Obviously, there was the, you know, use up a paper pad, which I hope you all really enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for all your lovely comments. I then filmed, obviously, the one before that, the, you know, Shop Your Stash series. So that was, again, you know, more very, you know, film intensive kind of work going on. And then, yeah, just kind of, using up the paper pad, it just kind of like, I then really had to cram it to try and actually get it finished and be able to actually upload the whole of the series before the end of the year. And so, to be honest, it kind of like took it out of me a little bit. And then it was like, oh no, now it's, you know, it's now suddenly, you know, time for the mass making. And of course, then what happened was the mass making would have gone up, yeah, on the Tuesday, but it had been then a bank holiday, which again, I hadn't quite kind of factored that in. And so then what happened was, of course, then, you know, bank holiday, it just wasn't great for filming because, you know, obviously people were still at home and things like that. And yeah, it just kind of, you know, went out the window. So I do apologise for that. So, but, you know, hopefully we are now all back on track. And, you know, I mean, to be honest, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love Christmas. I love the Christmas break and all of that stuff. But to be honest, it's that weird time of year, isn't it? I mean, the weather's not fantastic. So you can't be kind of like, you know, like in the summer, if you have time off, you know, you can get out and about a lot and things like that. Well, you know, I mean, obviously in the winter at the Christmas break, it's not really like that. And, you know, everyone's kind of just at home. The house is super messy. Everyone's eating extra food and, oh, you know, it's the only one that actually come the end of that. Well, and this sounds really like humbuggish, but, you know, come the end of it, you're like, oh, thank goodness everyone's gone back. And it's kind of like life has resumed, you know, as it normally is, because I just think you really are ready for life to resume, to be honest. You know, everyone being at home over that Christmas period is, yeah, just, it just has a really lethargic kind of feel to it by the end. And yeah, it's kind of nice when it's all gone back. Now, the only other thing that I bought along is I bought some vellum along. So, well, this is actually tracing paper that I got from Amazon. It's thicker than tracing paper that I've ever bought before. It's kind of more like vellum. I couldn't tell you, I'm afraid. I think it might be 100 GSM. Now, also got to apologise because for some reason I tried to set up my Amazon affiliate links like a really long time ago. I mean, like maybe even 2 years ago. And for some reason, I just have never managed to really get them to work. So, yeah, I really apologise because I see other people with their Amazon affiliate links that seem to work perfectly. I don't know quite what I'm doing wrong and why mine never do. I might do one like that where we've got kind of three different kind of materials, I guess. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, to be honest, but for some reason, I just have never really managed to get them to work. And then, you know, when they click, you know, they do click. So, you know, yeah, I mean, you can kind of like locate the items that I talk about. Not that I have linked that tracing paper. So, yeah, I haven't linked that because I haven't linked anything for a long time because actually I could never really get it to work. You know, I've certainly, you know, never kind of, you know, had a kind of, yeah, like benefit from having affiliate links or anything. So I'm not even entirely sure that they're even working. But yeah, anyway, so there's something else that is on my kind of like list of things to sort out for this year is try and get on top of things like my Amazon affiliate links and, you know, anything that perhaps just isn't perhaps working quite as well as it should. I know that sometimes I get people who say, you know, your Etsy link isn't working in your video, and you know, the video description, and I really don't know what that's about. And I know that, you know, perhaps my design team members' channels aren't linked properly, my, you know, my website isn't, and all these other things, and I have no idea what happens. But for some reason, obviously, you know, I kind of copy and paste like the bulk stuff in a video, and just every now and then it seems like YouTube just cuts off like a lot of the link, and so the links suddenly no longer work. You know, they might work for like, you know, I don't know, a couple of months, and then they just suddenly stop working. I have no idea why that happens, but it's really frustrating because of course it all just adds, you know, extra time and things to do, doesn't it? So I'm just going to layer them up and kind of glue bits together, you know, in nice kind of formations, I think. So that's pretty, isn't it? Yeah, so this year I'm going to try and get on top of some of those things, but you know, as with all these things, it just all really takes quite a long time to sort out. So yeah, it's on my kind of list of, oh, I must sort out those things, but yeah, it may take a little while. So yeah, but I hope that everybody's doing well, and obviously I did put up a video, you know, for New Year with those pretty, like, you know, faux enamel sort of flower pieces. So again, thank you so much to all those lovely people who've watched that video and have commented and things like that. I really hope that you enjoyed making some of those. They were just a really fun little thing. You know, I hope you all had a wonderful New Year. I know I did obviously say that in that video. So, you know, hopefully I have, well, I mean, I have wished everyone a happy New Year, you know, since then. I'm just trying to pick off that line of glue. Since then, but yeah, just kind of, I guess, you know, this is the first time that I've been like live-ish to you guys. So I hope everyone really did have a lovely Christmas, and yeah, welcome back. So it's a 2022. I mean, I can't believe we're 2022. How quick did last year go? Just crazy, wasn't it? Every year just seems to go quicker and quicker. I mean, I know I say this, you know, frequently, but I mean, it's something to do with having children, isn't it? The time just goes faster and faster. You know, and I mean, I guess it goes faster and faster anyway, because as you get older, of course, you know, a year in your 40s is not the same as a year when you're 10. You know, when you're 10, I mean, a year is like 10% of your life, you know. So it stands to reason that as you get older, a year is a much shorter, you know, span of time, I suppose. But yeah, it just kind of like never fails to amaze me how quickly that the time actually goes. It's like, oh my goodness. So I hope you've all got, you know, some nice projects on the go and things like that. I have loads of things planned for us for this year. So hopefully we're going to have a really, really, really super time. I have got a new series, which I'm hoping is going to start on Monday. So I will try and get a trailer out for that in the next couple of days, which hopefully, you know, you'll all really, really enjoy that series. So yeah, that's all kind of filmed ahead. I just need to kind of film a trailer and, you know, get that kind of uploaded and then schedule the videos to go up, you know, kind of as a series. So yeah, that will be a 7-day series, but obviously I will probably skip the Tuesday because of course we will have our mass making session. So it will be, yeah, 7 days except for the Tuesday. I've just suddenly realised that this is probably not very straight either, so I'm just going to tidy this up before I actually glue it down this time. Yeah, so that's that series. I'm hoping to do a giveaway for my Buy Me a Coffee, you know, people who have been, you know, really generous and supported on my Buy Me a Coffee. Again, I can't tell you how much I appreciate just, you know, all your support. Just in my shop, on my channel, and, you know, on my Buy Me a Coffee and things like that. It's just so very appreciated. And, you know, I mean, of course, you know, I couldn't do this without kind of, you know, you guys, you know, supporting me. But, you know, I mean, there'd be no point anyway if you guys weren't watching me and things anyway. But, you know, yeah, I really feel so privileged to be in this position where I can be sharing my absolute passion, you know, and my love of paper crafting and junk journals with you guys, you know. So yeah, really, really appreciate it. So yeah, hopefully I'm going to be doing a giveaway for my Buy Me a Coffee. Again, you know, I've got all the stuff ready to go. You know, I know what I'm giving away and everything. It's all sat here beside my desk. It's just really getting round to it, because to do the giveaway, I just need to make a conscious effort to remember to bring my laptop up when I do the film, you know, the video, because to do the, you know, the picking of the winner, I'm going to need to bring my laptop. So it's just, yeah, I need to kind of organise myself for that one. So, yep, if you have, you know, bought me a coffee at all, then please do keep your eyes out, because that, you know, will be going ahead in the next, hopefully, few days. So, yeah, I've got that coming up. I'm also filming another series, but that probably won't go up for a little while, you know, because I will try and get the other things kind of done and dusted and out the way first. Just thinking, actually, let's have this on this one. So this will be, you know, all the same papers. Yeah, so those kinds of things are going to be going ahead. What else have we been up to? It was my daughter's birthday. So it's since I've seen you last, I've had yeah, a couple of birthdays. It was my son's birthday. My son's birthday is New Year's Eve, and I've said this lots of times. So yeah, it was his birthday on New Year's Eve. You know, he had a lovely time. Actually, I don't think I've talked about this. So we did an escape room. I might have talked about this, but in a video that's not gone up yet. So I do apologise if you're going to hear me talking about this twice, but it's kind of a tradition that we do every year on his birthday. We've done an escape room, and that's been for about 4 years, I think now. Last year, obviously, it was kind of a little bit hampered with the, you know, the lockdown, but we still did manage to do an escape room, but it was a virtual one, you know, which we had mixed success with that. The experience was kind of good, and then just suddenly kind of like cut us off. So yeah, it started out brilliant and then it deteriorated, but anyway, it was okay. So yeah, we were back to doing a proper one this year, and it was just myself and my sons who did it. So I kind of felt very skeptical whether we were going to actually make it out of the room, because, you know, I did say to them, well, you know, oh, it's only going to be the three of us. Like, I'm not sure that we're going to have much chance of actually escaping. And I mean, yeah, they made me laugh a little bit, because they did kind of say, oh, Mum, you know, don't worry about it. You know, don't think, you know, they said, I don't think Dad, you know, or their sister was very much help. Obviously their sister, because, you know, of course she's only young. So, you know, she's of limited help, it's got to be said, when you're doing an escape room. That said, she has managed to get a couple of clues, you know, before. But yeah, we didn't have her come along this time, because the theme of the escape room that we did, it was like a horror type theme. So it was very dark in there. There were kind of like scary things, you know, yeah, it wouldn't have been appropriate. It might have even been like an over 18s kind of thing. I'm not too sure, but yeah, she wouldn't have appreciated it. So yeah, that's why she didn't join us for that. And yeah, but anyway, would you believe we did manage to escape? I couldn't believe it, honestly. I mean, I really was, yeah, low hopes there. Kind of thought, well, you know, I doubt very much that we're going to be able to get out of here, because it's just three of us. But yeah, we kind of worked really well as a team. And yeah, we were quite kind of calm and collected when we first went in there, because, you know, if you've ever done an escape room, they're really, really, really intense. And you know, I mean, obviously you're doing it by the clock, so, you know, you can't be dithering and dawdling around, you know, you've got to just crack on and, you know, get those clues as quickly as you possibly can. And to be fair, you know, when there's normally been like the five of us, and, you know, obviously one of those people being my daughter, you know, of course it kind of gets like a little bit, yeah, frantic, I suppose, because, you know, there's all of you kind of trying to actually solve all these clues. So in some ways, dare I say it, it was almost like easier with there just being like the three of us. And when we first went in, we were really calm, and, you know, every clue as we kind of used it, like say, I don't know, used a book to get a code to, you know, open a padlock or something like that. we put it down by the door, you know, like, yeah, by the door where you went in. So we know, you know, we knew that we'd used that particular prop or clue or, you know, whatever it was, which, you know, when there's more of you, to be honest, it kind of gets a little bit like, oh, you know, everyone's all over the place. And before you know it, there's stuff everywhere and you don't know what you've used, what you haven't, you know, and of course you're all so busy and intense on your own kind of thing. There's not really much time for kind of cooperating and kind of saying, you know, oh, have you used this? Or, you know, have you done that one? So in some ways, I'm not saying it was easier being less of us, but I think we definitely, we had a more methodical approach with there being a few less. Right, so I've got these. Now I'm just going to cut them down now to trim them. So I'll just trim them all first. And then we'll kind of maybe round the corners and staple them and all that kind of stuff. So like that. Oops. Again, not doing a very good job of cutting here. Yeah, anyway, we did manage to get out, so that was amazing. Then it was my daughter's birthday at the weekend. So, yeah, she had her birthday and she wanted to go to, we have this thing over here. Now, I don't know whether it's kind of an international thing or whether it's just here. I really don't know. It's called Build-A-Bear Workshop. Now, I've heard people talk about them. And we had been in there once or twice, but we'd never bought anything from there. So she said to me that that was what she wanted for her birthday, was she wanted a Build-A-Bear, you know, from the Build-A-Bear Workshop. So, yeah, that's what we did. And we were in that shop for an hour and a half, I have to say. Now, I can completely see why little girls would absolutely love the Build-A-Bear Workshop experience, because you know, they really do make it exactly that, a whole experience. You're not just buying a teddy bear, you know, you're not even just buying a teddy bear and dressing it up. You know, they really have thought about it and made it the most interactive, you know, experience that they possibly can. And yeah, absolutely was really good fun. So, yeah, she absolutely loved it. And, you know, of course, she then got, you know, I mean, actually, she picked like a weird Pokemon thing. I don't know. It's, I think it's like the fashion at the moment, or the, you know, the trend at the moment. But yeah, that was what she chose. I mean, they had all these lovely, cute teddy bears, and you know, I did try and dissuade her and kind of keep saying, "Oh, are you sure that's the one that you want?" And you know, a bit like when you're crafting, you know, you kind of are like, "Oh, are you sure you want to put that there?" It was like that. I kept on saying, "Oh, are you sure you want that one? There's loads of other really cute bears," but no, that was the one she wanted. So I had to really try and, you know, butt out, you know, and not do the mum thing of trying to dissuade her and, you know, make her have my choice, what I thought was nicer. Oh, and that is very difficult. I don't know about you guys, but, you know, sometimes I just find things like that very, very tough to let them, you know, let them choose for themselves. Because you think, oh, gosh, we're going to get home and then she's going to say, oh, why have I picked this one? It's horrible. But anyway, she didn't. Luckily, she did seem to really like it. So, yeah, that was what we did at the weekend. So, yep, she's thrilled to bits with her Build-A-Bear now. So, yeah. And like I say, I mean, actually, I can now see, you know, why kids really like them. I mean, they're not cheap. To be fair, the actual bear themselves, they're not that expensive. But what happens is, so you go in there and the bears are like an empty skin, you know, of the bear. They have nothing in them. I've just suddenly realised I haven't stapled any of these together. They have nothing in them, you know, i.e. they have no stuffing. So what happens is you pick your bear, you know, the empty shell. So it's just like a sort of sack, you know, kind of bear-shaped sack, or whatever it is that you've chosen. And there was, you know, a lot to choose from, maybe like 30 different things to choose from. So like, you know, you could get like a dog or all different things, you know, rainbow teddy bear, just like a very traditional brown teddy bear, you know, all sorts of different things to choose from. And then what you do is you then take the bear to this machine that's in the middle of the store, and they then stuff the bear. So the bear gets stuffed, you know, with like bear stuffing. And then at this point, you can normally have scent added to your bear. Unfortunately, you know, because of the pandemic and all the shortages of, you know, trying to get hold of things and things like that, they had none of the, you know, none of the scent left. Oh, I don't know what's going on with that cutting. They had none of the scent. So, yeah, sadly, she was not able to get the scent, you know, on the bear, because she had really wanted to do that. But, you know, it's fine. And I think you can always go back in and have that re-added. So, who knows? She might decide to do that at a later date. Then you can add like a voice box to your bear if you'd like. So I assume you do have to pay for all of them. We had to pay for the, you know, the voice box that she wanted. I assume that, yeah, I doubt there's any that are free. But, you know, they're not too expensive, you know, for the voice box. But bearing in mind that all these things do kind of like suddenly add up. So, oops, now stapled that in there. So busy chatting. Wasn't really watching what I was doing. So yeah, then you kind of you know, they give you like a sort of heart, so you choose like a heart, and they've got a choice of, you know, satin hearts, or I don't know, I think there were silver hearts, gingham hearts, red satin ones. So she chose red satin, and they do like this little ceremony where you kind of like breathe love onto your heart, and, you know, you kind of like rub it and warm it up in your hands, and, you know, you're kind of like dedicating love to your teddy bear. And so when they sort of stitch your bear up, your bear is also stitched together with the heart that you have, you know, breathed all that love onto. So yeah, that's how they kind of like do that. So the bear has got then inside it, obviously, the stuffing and the heart that you've put in there that you chose. And then you can go around the shop and you can pick clothes for your bear, you can pick accessories for your bear, hair things kind of, you know, for your bear, all different sorts of things. What else? I don't know, like a bag to carry your bear in, a rucksacky thing, you know, like a what are those things called, you know, that babies are carried in? Oh, what are those, like a, is it a papoose? I'm not sure what it's called, but anyway, one of those kinds of things to carry your bear in. And yeah, so you can get loads of different accessories, but of course that's what's going to run your money up. So what starts out that you think, oh, you know, the price of the bear actually isn't too bad, actually then what happens is quite quickly the price of the bear becomes, you know, quite expensive. But that, you know, she came out with quite a few things. You know, she had the bear, and then she came out with quite a few yeah, different accessories and, you know, what have you for the bear, and she was thrilled to bits. And, you know, that was her present, you know, that was what she actually had asked for her birthday. So yeah. And before we'd gone there, she wanted to go to Flip Out, which is a big trampolining place. So we took a friend of hers from school, and she came to the Flip Out. I'm going to just round those corners, but not the other side, I think, 'cause that would look quite nice. So yeah, we'd been to the Flip Out as well. So yeah, she had a really lovely birthday, so that was really, really nice. I'm thinking that looks a little bit off on that side, so I'm just going to trim that up. Yeah, so that's what we did. What else? Did we do anything else? Oh, it was foul weather, absolutely foul weather. And the Build-A-Bear workshop is, I don't know, 30 miles, I suppose, something like that. So we had a fair drive, and oh, I hate driving, you know, when it's really chucking it down with rain. And of course it was really chucking it down with rain. So yeah, but you know, it was fine. Trying to think what else we've been up to. Just trying to kind of like avoid the shops, really, because I don't want to be, you know, spending money unnecessarily. And, you know, I don't know about you guys, but I just think, oh, don't go into the shops, because if I go in the shops, that's just going to lead to buying. So yeah, kind of for me, the trick is don't go in the first place. Right, so I'm going to take one up and decorate it up. So I've got this one, and what should we do? I'm just wondering whether we could do one of those little belts that I mentioned that I had done in the last one. Right, this is not really going to be... I guess it could work. Just have a look. So, actually, let's just fold that over here. Now, obviously, this is just paper thickness. It's not kind of anything very robust, so I must just bear that in mind. Okay. Like that. Trying to think if we've been to the cinema. We went to the cinema and watched, oh, what did we watch? Oh, last week, yes. Went with the boys on the day that my daughter went to her dad's. We went and watched The Electrical Life of Lois Wayne, I think it was called. Very peculiar film, I have to say. Yeah, it was okay. It was with the, you know, Benedict Cumberbatch. And I mean, ordinarily, I would say he's brilliant. Well, not ordinarily, you know, he's brilliant, isn't he? And, yeah, very kind of watchable actor, very kind of eccentric. And, yeah, so that makes him, of course, very fun to watch. It was a very peculiar film. It was okay. I wouldn't kind of rush to go and watch it again. I wouldn't necessarily kind of like recommend it, but you know, it was okay. But it was about the guy who made, you know, those weird pictures, and you'd recognize this, I'm sure. The pictures of like, the only one that sticks in my head is there's a picture of like cats playing pool or playing snooker or playing billiards, whatever, you know, whatever kind of term or game, in fact, that they're playing. So, yeah, there's a famous picture with, like, cats playing, you know, pool, snooker, billiards, one of those types of things on a pool table anyway. And, you know, I'm sure that you guys would all recognise the picture if you saw it. That seemed to be one of his paintings. So he had this weird and wonderful imagination, and, yeah, it just kind of culminated itself in these weird kind of eclectic pictures of cats. You know, yeah, just, I don't know, very strange. It was okay. It had Claire Foy in, and she's a British actress, and she seems to be in literally everything at the moment. She's very watchable, really, yeah, great actress. And she plays so many different characters, you know, and she really kind of like pulls them off brilliantly. So, yeah, she was in it with him, and it was okay. I mean, yeah, definitely kind of like strange, you know. It was like, oh, this is a strange film. Yeah, it was all right. It was all right. But, you know. Okay. And I'm trying to think if we've done anything else, really. Don't really think we've done anything else particularly exciting. Just, yeah, kind of running through, like, you know, because obviously it's been a while since I've done a kind of mass make, but yeah, can't really think of anything of note, anything worth talking about that we've done. So that is my little paper closure. Now, obviously, as you can see, it didn't kind of reach on the back, so I just took the 2 strips. Doesn't reach on the back. For me, that doesn't bother me because this will be glued onto a page. So I would glue this down on, like, say, 3 sides like that. So then you'd have this side bit as a pocket, or, you know, this side bit as a pocket. And then this is going to be your closure. So what I would do here is put maybe Velcro or magnet on there. So I'm going to go for magnets, I think. So let me just grab some magnets. Hold on. Oops. Okay. So I'm just going to take my little magnet closures. And yeah, like that. Okay. Oops. Oh, gosh. Right. So yeah, I'm going to just pop it on there. And then take the other magnet that's attached to it and peel the backing off of there. Okay, oops, come on. Oh, come on. Sorry, I find things like this so tricky sometimes to, oh, it would help if I took the magnet off, I suppose. So yeah, let's just take the magnet off and see if I can peel it off. Right, okay. So, and then the easiest way is to obviously, of course, put the magnet back on, and then you just flip it closed. So then you know your magnets are in the right place, you know, they're all touching. And then, yeah, let's decorate this up, because of course we don't want to just have a kind of magnet closure. We want to, of course, have some, you know, some fun going on here as well. So I'm just going to cut a little bit of lace like that. And yeah, should we kind of just have a little strip of lace either down the corner or under there, or of course we could even have the lace actually on the closure itself like that. And now I've got these circles which I've recently added into my shop. Again, I will be having a launch video coming up of these, but I haven't done it yet. But yeah, I've got these little circles. So let's take this one, and you should have kind of like 1 inch, oops, 1 inch circle punch size along with other sizes. So, oh my goodness, I can't really see, but yeah. So that can then go on there. Oh, how gorgeous does that look? Love how that looks. So yeah, all I'm going to do is glue the lace down on here. Okay. Like that. Okie doke. And then this one, probably should actually ink this up, shouldn't I? Not done any inking on this at all. Okay. Oh, how gorgeous is that? So yeah, let's just glue that down there. And you know, of course, that glue is also handy because it's just reinforcing the lace. So like that. Now actually, before I put that away, I'm thinking let's ink up a little bit around the side of here. And of course, just kind of like go into there a bit. Excuse me. There we go. Oh, and I can't let the video go by without, you know, also doing a mention. And I'm so sorry that this is, you know, a little bit kind of, well, not a little bit, but, you know, very sad news. But it seems like it's been a really sad time at the moment across the crafting world, really, because, yeah, over the last few weeks, we've lost several lovely kind of people from the crafting world. So there has been Laurie, Girl on a Ridge, and I really hope that she doesn't mind me saying this, but yes, she sadly lost her husband, you know, and yeah, he'd had a battle with COVID, and yeah, sadly lost his battle to that. So Laurie, if you happen to watch this video, I just really sending you lots of love. I, you know, can't imagine what you're going through, and yeah, so sad. So yeah, really sorry to hear that, and you know, love to you and your family. I really hope that, you know, you're all doing, you know, as well as you possibly can at the moment. So yeah, there was Laurie. And then Camille over at, oh my gosh, I've forgotten the channel name. She also passed away very suddenly and unexpectedly, I think she did. And I really don't know sort of any details, I'm afraid, about that. So yeah, so that was another really sad loss in our crafting community. So again, I mean, I didn't really know Camille kind of personally, you know, like obviously I know Laurie, but yeah, very sad. So, you know, and so awful for some reason that, you know, at the time of year kind of around Christmas and things, because of course then going forward it's very hard to then associate Christmas with anything other than the loss of your loved one. So yeah, very sad news. So because a lot of what she did kind of overlapped with things that we do. So yeah, love to her and her family as well. So you know, I really hope that you're all kind of doing okay, really. So yeah, love to anybody who's obviously kind of, you know, lost loved ones and things over, you know, over the last few weeks. It's you know, it's never good, but for some reason just, you know, seems, I don't know, doubly hard, I think, at this time of year. So, right, I'm going to, I think, leave that at that, because I feel like now I'm dragging on a little bit, and, you know, I'd really like to get another couple of videos done quickly, and I've got an appointment at 1 o'clock, so I need to kind of really hurry up. So, just seeing whether I might like a bit of bling on there, because, you know, can't quite not have bling. So let's just pop this down. Oops. Oh, come on. Okay. There we go. Just a little bit of bling to just finish that off. So how gorgeous is that? It looks so pretty, doesn't it? So I'm just going to pull in, oh, I got a journal on the go. Yeah, I do have actually. So I'm just going to pull in a journal just to kind of show you how this would look on a page. So it's, well, it's not on the go, but it's ready to be on the go. So this is how this would look on a page. So again, I would glue this on 3 sides like that. You'd have your side pocket here, and this would then open like that. And then you've got obviously page here for journaling, page here for journaling, and then this side here for journaling. Of course, you could journal all over here. And then here you've got obviously a couple of pockets as well as your pocket here in the side. So I just love these, and you know, really do think that, you know, you could do loads with these and have lots and lots of fun. Like I say, I mean, just play around and, you know, mix up your papers and, you know, just see what transpires. So yeah, I hope that you like them, and maybe giving you some, you know, some ideas and some inspiration to do some of your own. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, everybody. Keep your eyes peeled. Like I say, I will be putting a trailer out for my new series, which I'm hoping I'm going to be starting on Monday. And yeah, keep your eyes out also for that Buy Me a Coffee giveaway, which again, I hope to upload in the next few days. So thank you so much then, and see you guys soon. Thanks then. Bye.